that later as well. All right. We are reading this wonderful book called Flowing Conversations with the Awakener. I assume this is the last chapter on part 2 of the book. Then we'll go to part 3. And it is called My Name. Is that the one? My Name is the Key, and page number 132. My name is the key.
I was sitting outside on a bench in the park eating my lunch. I noticed a line of ants had formed around a large piece of bread that had fallen while I was eating. I was intrigued to see the orderly fashion in which they were carrying the bits of bread back to their nest in one long line. I began to think of how we seem caught up in narrow patterns in our lives, just like these tiny denizens of the earth. As I followed the line of ants off to the right, my eyes were warmed by the sight of your familiar feet. You came over and sat on the bench next to me. I'm glad you're here, I exclaimed. I want to ask you something. Ask away, my dear. When you say it is a single file journey to you, what exactly do you mean? What don't you understand? You asked. Well, if there is room for only one on this path, it sounds very confining, a narrowing down of life. But this doesn't seem right to me, I mused. In your mind, it may seem to be a cave that might cage you in, but that isn't so, you explained. You don't have to be alone in the jungle, away from the crowds, to be on the single file journey. Indeed, wherever you are, single file simply means that you are no longer tempted by all the allurements of the passing show before you. Even though it seems like a withdrawing from life, following this path allows you to more fully appreciate the freshness that flows through all. On this journey, you are in effect disentangling yourself from distractions.
I think we'll go step by step. Basically, what Baba is trying to say, what the author was trying to say, is that it is very constricting. It is very restrictive to walk the path. And what Baba is trying to convey is, on the contrary, you become more aware, you become more open, you become more conscious about where you are going. Because the author is comparing the single file, the ant line of ants, which were taking the crumbs of bread back to the nest. So okay, as is the practice, let me read this. I was sitting outside on a bench in a park eating my lunch. I noticed the line of ants had formed around a large piece of bread that had fallen while I was eating. I was intrigued to see the orderly fashion in which they are carrying the bits of bread back to the nest in one long line. I began to think of how we seem caught up in narrow patterns in our life, just like this tiny denizens would mean habitat of the earth. So he's comparing that how we get so narrowed down. The ants do not see anything else. They do not have the awareness, the consciousness of the world around. They are simply focused one line to take the bread to their nest. And how we also become similar in life. That's what he was trying to convey. As I followed the line of ants off to the right, my eyes were warmed by a sight of your familiar feet. You came over and sat on the bench next to me. I'm glad you are here, I exclaimed. I want to ask you something. Ask away, my dear. When you say it's a single file journey to you, what exactly do you mean? So he is identifying the single file journey of the end. And when Baba said it's a single file journey, what exactly are you trying to say? And Baba beautifully explains that it simply means that you do not get attracted and distracted by things around you and that you are focused on the goal. What don't you understand? You asked. Well, If there is room for only one on this path, it sounds very confining, a narrowing down of life, but this doesn't seem right to me. I mused, I was pondering, I was wondering. Now the answer is in your mind, it may seem to be a cave that might cage you in, but that isn't so, you explain. You don't have to be alone in the jungle, away from the crowds, to be on the single file journey. So, single file journey basically means that you live in the world, you discharge all your duties and responsibilities, but you focus on the goal. Other things in life do not distract you, do not pull you away from the goal. All right. You don't have to be alone in the jungle, away from the crowds, to be on the single file journey. Indeed, wherever you are, single file simply means that you are no longer tempted by all the allurements of the passing show before you. Even though it seems like a withdrawing from life, following this path allows you to more fully appreciate the freshness that flows through all. In other words, it's not restrictive. In fact, it is expansive. It makes your vision more acute, more focused, more mindful, and it is more expansive and not restrictive. Even though it may seem like a withdrawing from life, following this path allows you to more fully appreciate the freshness that flows through all because the angle of vision changes. On this journey, you are in effect, disentangling yourself from distractions. So when we are focused on the goal, we are actually disentangling ourselves from all the other. Correct. Single file.
Single file is the life under the vast moving fan of my presence that keeps allurements like mosquitoes at bay. In fact, this journey is a breaking out of the cage that keeps you from my presence, an invitation to go from the cage into freedom. I nodded in appreciation of your beautiful explanation. So, the single file journey will lead me to freedom? I asked. Freedom will come when you dive deep into the vastness within. You will then be established in the profound vacuum where even the music of the spheres holds no charm. In that silence, the sound of my name will resonate in your heart as the only exception. Exhilarated by what you describe, I implored, I pray that you will resonate your name in me. Having my name on your lips is a way of tuning in to an inner resonance, like a cell phone signal that crosses miles in an instant, eliminating space itself. A rhythm is created inside you that becomes a constant reminder to take my name. But don't I have to remember to take your name? I queried. No, my name just comes. What do you mean? I asked, somewhat mystified. Remembering to take my name is good, but as long as you are making the effort, it remains yours. At some point, you have to go beyond effort and find your nature. It is through your nature that my name comes. Nature is something that simply is. Think of it as a rhythm that goes on and on beneath your intentions. At the core of that rhythm is the ongoing repetition of my name. You will discover your own nature by surrendering to the peace and tranquility within.
You took the wrong time. No, that was not good. So yes. Anyway, okay, where are we? Single file. how beautifully Baba explains that if we are surrounded by mosquitoes, and if there is a very fast moving fan above us, although the mosquitoes are there, they will not be able to distract us and disturb us because the fast moving fan will just throw away the mosquitoes. So, here, single file is a life under the vast moving fan of my presence that keeps allurements like mosquitoes at bay. In other words, if we have cultivated the habit, the pattern, the art of remembering Him, of feeling His presence within us all the time, then all the other allurements will just fall away, will just fall off. In fact, this journey is a breaking out of the cage because initially the author said it is like we are getting into a cave, it is like we are getting into a cage. So the Awakener is saying, in fact, this journey is a breaking out of the cage that keeps you from my presence. The cage keeps you away from my presence. The cage is the allurement, the other attractions in life. And in fact, if you are drowned in my presence, this single file journey will actually keep you away. It will give you the freedom and you will be able to escape from the cage of the allurements. I'll read this again. In fact, this journey is a breaking out of the cage that keeps you from my presence, an invitation to go from the cage into freedom. I nodded in appreciation of your beautiful explanation. So, the single file journey will lead me to freedom? I asked. The answer is freedom will come when you dive deep into the vastness within. Baba has always said, look within. There is vastness within. And in that vastness is filled the entire cosmos. Baba always said that your so called heaven and hell, your so called planes of consciousness, your so called ascended masters, your so called angels and archangels, your so called what we call as guiding spirits, and all that we talk about, they are all within you. Nothing is outside of you. So here Baba says that you'll be able to dive in your vastness, and when you are able to go within into your vastness, that is the time when you will experience freedom. Freedom will come when you dive deep into the vastness within. You will then be established in the profound vacuum where even the music of the spheres hold no charm. Music of the spheres means all the attractions, all the riddhi siddhi. Riddhi siddhi means powers. All the tantalizing, the sound, the smell, the sights, and all these are there on the planes of consciousness. They are there, but they are not real. They are as much a part of the illusion as all this gross world is. In fact, they are more tantalizing, they are more attractive, and you can get fuss out, you can get stuck up over there. So Baba says when you dive deep within the quiet vastness, Baba says here, you will then be established in the profound vacuum where even the music of the spheres, that's what the music means, holds no charm. You will not be attracted by all this. In that silence, the sound of my name will resonate in your heart as the only exception. That means the only thing that will resonate in your heart is the sound of my name. Nothing else will be there, nothing else will attract you or distract you. Exhilarated by what you described, I implored, I pray that you will resonate your name in me. Having my name on your lips is a way of turning in to an inner resonance, like a cell phone signal that crosses miles in an instant, eliminating space itself. What we consider as space, you take a cell phone and you just dial a button or dial a number. Somebody living, we are in India, somebody is in America, Australia, New Zealand, Switzerland, in an instant, in an instance, eliminating the distance and the space, the connection is made. In the same way, when we get into the pattern, the habit of remembering him, of repeating his name within ourselves, your Baba says, having my name on your lips is a way of tuning in to an inner resonance, like a cell phone signal that crosses miles in an instant, eliminating space itself. A rhythm is created inside you that becomes a constant reminder to take my name. Baba says that you have to get so accustomed to it. The rhythm should be so sahaj, so natural, that even in your sleep, Baba says, you'll keep on repeating my name without your knowing it. So it should be made such a practice that it just comes out without even conscious effort. Involuntary. Yeah, involuntary. But don't I have to remember to take your name? That's what we all say. We have to remember to take Baba's name. No, my name just comes. Again, the same thought as earlier Baba had said, that all effort that you make is of your own doing, and effort binds. And then somewhere else, Baba said that all effort is to come to a point of effortlessness. So here Baba says, no, my name just comes. What do you mean? I asked, somewhat mystified. Remembering to take my name is good, but as long as you are making the effort, it remains yours. It's a little subtle in the sense that as long as you make an effort to remember, then it is your department, your section, your kshetra, you are making an effort. But remembering is fine, very subtle, as I said. At some point, you have to go beyond effort and find your nature. In other words, what Baba is trying to convey, my interpretation is, it should come naturally and spontaneously and effortlessly. It may have to start with remembrance, with practice, with effort, but a time should come when it should automatically come, effortlessly come. I'll read this again. Remembering to take my name is good, but as long as you are making the effort, it remains yours. At some point, you have to go beyond effort and find your nature. It is through your nature that my name comes. In other words, my interpretation would be that the name is always there. Baba's name is always there. But that name has been covered and shrouded and enveloped through all kinds of distractions and attractions, allurements. And initially, you may have to put in a little effort, put in a little habit pattern, but then the name is always there. Baba says, it is, it is through your nature that my name comes. Nature is something that simply is. That means Baba's name simply is. We have to come to that point of nature where it automatically flows out. Think of it as a rhythm that goes on and on beneath your intentions. That means at the background, your name is constantly going on. Sorry? Like how we breathe without even realizing that we are breathing. We are never conscious of breathing unless when we are running or climbing some mountain or something like that. In the same way, the name is there. All you have to do is make it a natural practice for the name to be constantly going on within ourselves. Think of it as a rhythm that goes on and on beneath your intentions. At the core of that rhythm is the ongoing repetition of my name. You will discover your own nature by surrendering to the peace and tranquility within. In other words, again, my interpretation would be do not be distracted, attracted by things outside of you. Be at peace, be at rhythm, and automatically that name will flow out over a period of time effortless. Did you?
Enthused by the prospect of something so simple, I asked, "So I just sit back in peace and tranquility and wait?" You smiled at my excitement. When quiet comes, it is the easiest thing. But to arrive at that point can be most difficult. When you do become truly quiet, you will experience that I am the one who is continually repeating my name in you. Ah, so when it is not my effort, you take over? Yes, you said, pleased with my understanding. But a moment later, a point of confusion arose. So, emboldening myself, I asked, "Does that mean that when I make an effort to repeat your name, I reap no benefits?" You simply answered, "Taking my name will nullify you, eliminating any thought of benefit." I sighed, taking in the truth you had shared with me. You then continued, "My name is your key. You have acquired it after lifetimes of searching. Each person has one, and no thief can take it from you. It is such a measure that
Treasure.
sorry, Baba, it is such a treasure that as you take my name, it goes on increasing in value. It is the priceless key that will unlock the gate home. When you repeat my name, this begins your long awaited inner journey. I felt grateful that I had come to know your name in this lifetime. And with deep feeling, words flowed forth from my heart in prayer. How fortunate I am that you have given me the key, bringing real happiness and harmony. Even if all else were to wash away, may I go on repeating your name.
There is that song, Bin Tale ki chavi leke ghumte mare mare. Some
Yeah.
Kishore Kumar and others. So we are so blessed, all of us, that we got the name Baba. Some people prefer to say Meher Baba, some people prefer to say Avatar Meher Baba, some people prefer to give so many other Sarva Vyapi and all that. Mohan Avatar Meher Baba, Mohan Dhari Avatar Meher Baba. It doesn't make a difference. As long as the heart is pure, the heart is there. It doesn't really matter by what name you call out. So here Baba says that the peace and tranquility within will be there. Enthused by the prospect of something so simple, I asked, so I just sit back in peace and tranquility and wait. See, to sit back in peace and tranquility and wait is not so simple because we get so much distracted by things around us. So the author is saying, so it is so simple. I don't have to do anything. I just have to sit back. I just sit back in peace and tranquility and wait. You smiled at my excitement. When quiet comes, it is the easiest thing, but to arrive at that point can be most difficult. Like Baba had said elsewhere, to tread the spiritual path is very easy, but to come to a decision, to decide that you want to tread the spiritual path is very difficult. It takes lifetimes after lifetimes to come to that decisive, you can say, moment where you say that I want to just let go of all that is illusory and walk the spiritual path. So here Baba is using the same thought process, saying, uh, where is it? When quiet comes, it is the easiest thing. But to arrive at that point can be most difficult. When you do become truly quiet, you will experience that I am the one who is continually repeating my name in you. Because once that real quiet, truly quiet, true tranquility comes, then basically the so-called false I gets so weakened that we don't even feel that I am repeating Baba's name. The experience is that Baba is repeating his name within me. It's like that. Ah, so when it is not by effort, you take over. So here he's saying that means I don't have to do any effort because you said that effort also binds. So when I do not do any effort, that means you'll take over if I'm not doing any effort. Yes, you said, pleased with my understanding. But a moment later, a point of confusion arose. You're on one side, I don't have to do any effort, but to not do any effort is a Herculean effort. You see, it's very difficult to get to that point of absolute faith, absolute peace, absolute quiet, absolute tranquility, absolute, uh, you know, uh, anchored feeling that Baba will take care of everything. You will take care. You will take over, so to speak. So, emboldening myself, I asked, does that mean that when I make an effort to repeat your name, I reap no benefit? Does it mean that if I repeat your name with effort, I don't reap any benefit? So here Baba says, you simply answer, taking my name will nullify you, eliminating any thought of benefit. See how, at what level the author is asking, does it mean there'll be no benefit? And here the awakener is saying that if you sincerely and honestly take my name, it will eliminate you. That means it will eliminate your false self. And when it eliminates your false self, there is the question of reaping any benefit. As long as we are thinking in terms of benefit or loss, it means we are exhibiting our false self. I sighed, taking in the truth you had shared with me. You then continued, my name is your key. That means Baba is giving us all the key, and that is his name. Not everybody knows his name. My name is your key. You have acquired it after lifetimes of searching. I remember once when Baba was with his mandali going to different places in the north, which are supposedly spiritually, charged places, and uh, the women mandali, especially I'm talking about Mani, Baba's sister Mani. She saw all the penitents, all the aspirants sleeping on nail bed or hanging upside down or doing all kinds of what we call austerity, spiritual gymnastics, you may say, you know. And Mani is asking Baba, how fortunate we are that we don't have to go through all these things. We got you on a platter, so to speak. And Baba then replies, of course, this applies to the Mandali, that you have done all these things in your past lives. And that is why in this life you have me. So in other words, I don't know whether we can apply that to all of us or to many of us. The very fact that we have got Meher Baba's name, the very fact that we have been accepted by Baba as his, whatever you call it, lovers or whatever you call it, is a great deal, is a big thing. And now it all rests upon us to take advantage of that particular good fortune that we have acquired. And that is what Baba is trying to say here. My name is your key. You have acquired it after lifetimes of searching. Each person has one between the key of his name, and no thief can take it from you. That's the key. It is such a treasure that as you take my name, it goes on increasing in value. In other words, as we keep remembering Baba, as we keep taking his name, as we enthrone him in our being, as we depend on him more and more, the value of that key goes on increasing. In other words, the value of the attraction, of the seduction, you may say, of the allurements, you may say, of the external world goes on diminishing. And therefore, the value of the key of his name goes on increasing. Each person has one, and no thief can take it from you. It is such a treasure that as you go taking my name, it goes on increasing in value. It is the priceless key that will unlock the gate home, capital H. Unlock the gate home means you will get moksha, mukti, realization, whatever you are destined for. When you repeat my name, this begins your long awaited inner journey. That means the long awaited inner journey starts with repeating his name. And my understanding would be repeating it the way he wants us to repeat, spontaneously, naturally, within us, not being distracted by anything outside of us. I felt grateful that I had come to know your name in this lifetime. We all should be grateful to Baba for allowing us to know his name and to know him and to know things about his life story and all that. And with deep feeling, words flowed forth from my heart in prayer. How fortunate I am that you have given me the key. How fortunate we all are that Baba has given us the key of his name. Now, how do we open the lock home is dependent upon each one of us. We may just carry the key without making any effort. We may just put it under the pillow and sleep over it. We may just throw it out somewhere, we may just lose it. So it is dependent upon each one of us how best we can make use of this indispensable key, his name. How fortunate I am that you have given me the key, bringing real happiness and harmony. It will give us real happiness, not happiness in the worldly sense, harmony. That means in harmony with everyone and everything, most importantly within ourselves. Even if all else were to wash away, may I go on repeating your name. Because many of us repeat his name when things go in the direction in which we want it to go. But when Baba steers our life in a different direction, that's the time when we are supposed to be holding on to his Dharma with both hands. So here we complete one uh, chapter. Actually, this was not the chapter to be read, but somehow some doesn't matter. Next time we will read the one which we had left out. It's called Love Devotion. Love devours distance, but we'll do that on next Saturday. So here we end this chapter, and then we go on to anybody has any questions to ask on this. Oh, that's a long one. That's a very long one. I had kept this for the earlier turn, thinking that if I finish that, I'll take this short one. But doesn't matter. It's all perfect. Everything is in perfect order. Anybody has anything to ask, share. Otherwise, we'll start now with section 3 and then come back to section 2 the next time when we read. Anybody has anything to ask? No. All right. So now we are doing section 3. They are all broken up into this, so we can easily stop when the time stops. But let us now once again go back to what is section 3 so that we understand that what is the meaning of section 3. Take a minute, huh? All right. So now you can read from here, section 1, section 2, and section 3, so that we are clear about what we are reading.
Balnathu's heart's conversation with the Awakener flowed up to the very end of his life. He was adding finishing touches to many of the flowing conversations, even into his final weeks. After Bal's passing, a group of friends who had worked with him set about to prepare the manuscript of flowing conversations for publication. Bal had
So in other
completed
words, this entire book was published after Bal Natuji passed over to Baba.
Bal had completed 16 conversations. These are contained in section 1. There were a
So he had completed, but the book was not published. Not published. Yeah.
There were a few more conversations that Bal felt required more editing work. Bal asked his dear band of friends if they would continue this editing after his passing. In keeping with Bal's wish, these friends joined together to refine his core thoughts into dramatic form in a way that they felt reflected the melody of his original thoughts. The result of these efforts comprised section 2.
So now section 2, in fact, we have completed today, but not completed because one more chapter is missing. Missing means we skipped it. We'll do it next time. Love devours distance. That we'll do it next time. Now we are jumping to section 3.
Section 3, which Bal titled Gifts of the Moment, contains brief thoughts of Bal's that had not yet become part of a conversation, but were thought to be beautiful on their own. Bal passed away before making the actual selections for this portion of the book. Those that are included here were chosen by the same set of friends and appear with some minor editing for clarity.
So these were chosen by this band of loyal people, Bal Natuji's friends, and that is what we are going to read now. No, can you? No, complete. Okay. So now we are going to section number 3, and let's go paragraph by paragraph. Go ahead.
Gifts, page 139. Gifts of the moment.
That's the main heading, and under which there are subsections, subheadings. So we'll do as much as we can do till 6:30.
Sculptor of lives. Our lives with you are like Michelangelo's figures in stone. When you are not in the picture, my life seems to be hardly anything at all. But when I see that you are the sculptor of lives, I become emboldened and wonder at the masterpiece you must be creating.
Okay, we'll go slowly, paragraph by paragraph. Sculptor of lives. Talking about sculptor, I'm sure I must have shared it on this forum. As Baba says, that everything is within. Spirituality is not an accumulation or amassing or gathering from without. That means from outside. It is an unfoldment from within. It just unfolds. Just as if a sculptor has, let's say he wants to have a murti of say Baba, let's say Baba. What does he do? He brings a piece of marble or a piece of stone and he starts chipping those portions of parts which are unnecessary for the image to manifest. In other words, he is not bringing something from outside and sticking it on to make an image of whosoever. So everything is within. All that is required is to chip off the unwanted parts. That's all. So that is what is coming through. I also remember once where Baba was explaining, about I I may be mistaken. I think he was talking about Elizabeth Patterson, or maybe he was talking about Ivy Deuce. So let's say Ivy Deuce. So what is Ivy Deuce? As you may be aware, she was the head of the Murshid. She was a Murshida of the Sufism reoriented, right? That means the head of the Sufism reoriented group in America. So Baba was explaining it could be Elizabeth, as I said. But anyway, what Baba? So who is Murshida? Murshida is God, because God cannot not be there anywhere. So Murshida is God, plus samskaras, impressions, you can call it anything, habit patterns, or load of the past, is equal to, Murshida. So Murshida equals God plus the garbage of whatever you call it, samskaras, impression. Now, all that is required is the garbage has to go. The garbage has to be nullified, balanced out, equated, eradicated, expanded. Expanded means spent out. And that what remains is God equals Murshida. So that applies to each one of us. Each one of us is nothing but God plus samskaras. Once the samskaras go, what remains is nothing but God. That's all. Right? So here, our lives with you are like Michelangelo's figures in stone. We all know Michelangelo. When you are not in the picture, my life seems to be hardly anything at all. When you are not there in my remembrance, then my life seems to be absolutely no good. But when I see that you are the sculptor of lives, I become emboldened and wonder at the masterpiece you must be creating. So this was a thought which must have come to Balnathuji, which they have replaced over here. Talking about this, another thought that comes to me, there was a king, I forgot the name, I'm not very good with the names, and he had a slave. Who was that? Ayaz.
Ayaz.
Ayaz. Ayaz. Now he was a slave, but the king would always take his advice rather than taking the advice of the ministers in conducting the business of the kingdom. So one fine day, what the king does is that he removes one of the most precious rings from his finger and keeps it on the table and asks everybody to evaluate it. What is the value of this particular ring? And everybody gave some bombastic figures, in terms of whatever you call it, dollars or whatever. And then the turn of Ayaz came and asked, "How would you value this? What is the value of this?" And Ayaz said, that it is worthless. It has no worth. And people were aghast. I mean, this is such a precious thing, and here you are saying it's worthless. And the king asked Ayaz, "Why did you say this?" And then Ayaz says that as long as that ring is in your finger, it is priceless. Nobody can put a price on it because you are wearing it. And the moment it comes out of your finger and it is segregated, separated from you, it becomes worthless. It has no meaning. In the same way, Baba had explained it, that as long as you stick to me, as long as you remember me, as long as I am your master, you are priceless. But the moment you get separated, worthless. Words to the effect. So here again, he is saying the same thing, that when you are not in the picture, my life seems to be hardly anything at all. Same thought process. But when I see that you are the sculptor of lives, I become emboldened and wonder at the masterpiece you must be creating. So from this, what we need to interpret, understand is stick to Baba through thick and thin and keep holding on to Baba's Dhamma with both hands, as Baba himself has said. Next one.
Dive deep. Take his name lovingly and dive deep within yourself, and he will help you to go deeper and deeper into the abyss of his silence. Continue this inward journey with love and longing, with patience and impatience. This will initiate a unique phase of ecstasy and agony. Do not get bewildered or scared. The renewing process is always painful, but continue to remember Him and Him alone. Do not anticipate, for what you need, you do not know. Throw yourself in without any reservation. Just do it.
So here there's another thought. which is expressed, like Baba says, that true love is no game for the faint hearted and the weak. It is born of strength and understanding. These were the words which Baba had referred to when talking about a must, that they are so truly and deeply in love with God, that they are not bothered about anything. They are not bothered about their own bodies, their own eating, their own sleeping, their own rest sense, nothing. They are deeply in love with God. So here, more or less, the same thought process is being, highlighted. Take His name lovingly and dive deep within yourself, and He will help you to go deeper and deeper into the abysses of His silence. At the core of everything is nothing. It is only from nothing that everything comes out. So that is silence. It is all silent. So the thought is that love Him, keep loving Him, and go deeper and deeper into His love. Take His name lovingly and dive deep within yourself. Oh, and He will help you to go deeper and deeper. Abysses is the bottomless pit of His silence. You just keep going. In other words, you need understanding, as I said the earlier message from Baba, that true love is no game for the faint-hearted and the weak. You require strength, you require understanding. And Baba has once said elsewhere, that most of the so-called lovers, whatever you call it, they are content with sitting on the beach, on the sand, and see the waves roll by and come and go, come and go. They do not have the daring to dive deep into the ocean in order that they may procure and acquire the pearl. The pearl would mean realization or even moksha or mukti. Some of them take up the daring and they go inside, daring of facing the waves, and they go inside ankle deep, knee deep, waist deep. They go at different levels. And some of them even take the plunge and dive. Very, very, very few are able to dive so deep so as to be able to actually see the beautiful pearl. Now, who can see? It's the peer, is the person who is on the sixth plane. There are very, very few after so many people who see, they are able to catch hold of the pearl. And the moment they catch hold of the pearl, they drop their physical body. That is, they got it, but it is only for their own, in a sense, selfish, in a sense, benefit. That's all. They got it. That's all. There are very, very few who not only got the pearl, but they brought it out of the ocean, and they are sharing that beauty with humanity, and they are only five. That means the five perfect masters. So that was another analogy which Baba had explained about the pearl and the diver and going into the deep sea. In other words, what Baba was talking about, the strength and the understanding to know what is the truth, what is the right thing, and where should we focus our energies on. Take His name lovingly and dive deep within yourself, and He will help you to go deeper and deeper into the abysses of His silence. Continue this inward journey with love and longing. The love has to be there. The love is the factor which, if it is not there, the whole game is lost. Longing, that means it is the impetus that keeps you going, with patience and impatience. Because even in that journey on the path, there are times when you get so-called waylaid, when you so-called lose all patience, there is, we had done this earlier, that this is the game of love, which is like a tug of war. It is the pulling and the pushing and the pulling and the pushing. And that is exactly what happens, that propels us towards the truth. So with patience and impatience, this will initiate a unique phase of ecstasy and agony. Like in New Life, Baba talks about enjoying, sorry, no, not that. Enjoying the pain, enjoying the pain. And when I think it was Adi K. Irani who asked Baba, how can anybody enjoy pain? And Baba gave a superb example of, if you have an itch, you feel like itching, then what do? You scratch. When you scratch, there is a very different sensation of aha, satisfaction. But at the same time, you are actually aggravating the itch, and it gives you more pain. So there is that combination of feeling nice about it, at the same time enhancing the pain. So here he talks about this will initiate a unique phase of ecstasy and agony. Agony, of course, is pain. Do not get bewildered or scared. Don't be scared. Don't be bewildered. The renewing process is always painful. Any change here in the path, when we, if at all we embark, it's a constantly renewing phase. Nothing is as it was a moment before. It's constantly oscillating, constantly renewing, constantly changing, constantly different from what it was one moment before. So, what Baba is trying to say is, do not get bewildered or scared. The renewing process is always painful. Anything you change from this to this is always painful. But continue to remember Him and Him alone. Again, a very important lesson, continue to remember Him and Him alone. I remember in the earlier days, there were Baba's Mandali, and obviously Baba was in the process of being established as the avatar of the age, and the Mandali members there who were with Baba, they were habituated to visiting other saints, other saints, genuine saints. And even though they were visiting genuine saints, Baba was not happy about it. So Baba gave an example that if you want to strike water, because Arangam at that time, even now of course it is by His grace only, it is lush green. What you do, you, by whatever means you call that diviner, there's a machine that comes, there are people who can identify where the underground rivers are flowing, where if you dig a well, a tube well or whatever, you will be able to strike water. So you call one such person and he identifies a place. So what do? You note that place and you dig and dig and dig and dig. And what will happen? One fine day, you are bound to find water. But if you dig, say 5 feet, 10 feet, one place, then you lose your patience, you lose your hope, and you dig somewhere else, 5, 10, 15 feet. Again, you don't find water. So you keep on shifting the place. What will happen? The entire life will go, but you will not be able to strike water. Why? Because you were not consistently digging at the same place. So here the thought is, here what is being told, continue to remember Him and Him alone. When you do that, Him and Him and Him and Him alone, that's the time when we have some hope, some opportunity of striking water. Striking water would mean of being one with Him. But continue to remember Him and Him alone. Do not anticipate. Again, Baba has been saying, do not anticipate. When you anticipate, there is a desire. When you anticipate, in a sense, there is a lack of faith. There is no total and absolute surrenderance. You are anticipating, you are expecting something. And when your expectations are not met, there is bound to be some kind of, dissatisfaction, disillusionment, and then you leave that and you go somewhere else. Do not anticipate. For what you need, you do not know. You do not know what you need. And that is why Baba always says, that okay, if you want to ask, you ask. But I am the one who knows what to give, whom to give, when to give, how much to give. You see, so we do not know what we really need. We may be asking for something which could be detrimental to our interest. And Baba would definitely not do that. A small child, a baby, a small child, let's say the baby has worms in his or her stomach, and the child wants lollipop, 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 the sweet lollipop. The parents know that if the child eats lollipop, it will only increase the number of worms and give more pain to the child. So the parent will not only not give, but if somebody else has given, the parent would snatch it away from the child, and the child may think how cruel my parents are. So Baba may sometimes snatch away things from us, knowing full well that that is not good for our own growth. So here, do not anticipate for what you need, you do not know. Throw yourself in without any reservation. Without any reservation means unconditionally, just throw yourself to the hands of Baba. Just do it. This is the Nike slogan. Just do it. 1 minute. Let me see how much time. Oh, we only have about. I don't want to start a new one. We don't want to start a new one. Anything else you want to say? Anybody wants to share something? Otherwise, Soumya may do a small dune. Oh, I'm going down. I'm going down. All right. Anybody wants to share something? Ask something? No. Great. Okay, Soumya. So you do it, whatever, if you remember it.
Yeah.
Good.
There is that line because we just read that
Yeah.
we don't know what we want. There is a nice song, a Parsi Zoroastrian prayer,
Monajat, so to speak, we call it.
which has the same sentiment.
You can repeat that line so that people who don't understand Gujarati, Balu
Balu hak ma mara,
te
te
janu
janu nahi. Balu je mane, te tu jani sahi.
means what is good for me, I do not know. But what I need and what is good for me, you alone know. So you only give what you think and feel is good for me. You can see that. Without it.
खुदाविंद खाविंद ऊपर वर्दिगान नमू तारी दात गाए हूँ खाकसा થયો રોજ આખિર શરૂ થઈ છે રાત તઈરાજ કરવાથી હું છું પછાત દયાલુ ખુદાવિંદ જગનારે બાપ મને સારુદાપન ની બુદ્ધિ તું આપ કે ભૂલો સુધારો હવે રોજ બરોજ ભલાઈ વધારો કરે નિત્ય ખોજ ભલું હાથમાં મારા બીજાનું નહીં ભલું જે મને તે તું જાને સહી બહુ આજ જીતી નમીને ખુદા કરું છું દુઆ આશીષો દે સદા કે તારી મદદથી રાખું વિવેક मनश्नी गवश्नी कुनश्नी ने मने पास बानी मतारी सुवार भला काम करवा सवारी उठार खुदाविंद खाविंद ऊपर वर्दिगार Namutari dadgai mukhaksa. Avtar Meher Baba. Jai.
Jai Baba to
Jai
all
Baba.
of you. Thank you, beloved
Thank you,
Baba.
Baba.
Now, as I said, Tuesday we are not meeting. We are not at home. We'll be meeting next Saturday. Avatar Meher Baba.
Meher Baba ki jai. Jai Meher Baba. Jai Meher Baba.
Jai Meher Baba.